Hey YouTube, Kira Twig here, bringing you guys my Litmus Doom Swordsman deck profile for July 2018. This is sort of a fun deck profile that I've been working on for a while now. Ever since the release of Battles of Legend, I really wanted to work on a deck that involved one of Bastion's ace cards that he used in the anime, and that is Litmus Doom Swordsman. Its whole basis of the card revolves around the fact that he is unaffected by trap effects, and he cannot be destroyed by battle, and he gains 3,000 attack and defense while this card is face up on the field. So let's go ahead and get started with the deck profile. So on this very interesting card. So to start off with the deck, I run 3 Litmus Doom Swordsman. With this card, you can ritual summon this with Litmus Doom Ritual, and it is unaffected by trap effects and cannot be destroyed by battle, like I stated. And it gains 3,000 attack and defense while a trap is on the field. If this ritual summon card is in its owner's control is destroyed by your opponent's card effect, you can target one trap in either graveyard, set it to your spell and trap card zone. So the whole point of this is to basically just have power control over your opponent and run plenty of trap cards that will remain face up on the field to make use of with Litmus Doom Swordsman. And the fact that he can't be destroyed, he's unaffected by trap effects, means that you don't really have to worry much when going up against your opponent. All you have to do is make sure you protect him from cards like monster effects, stuff like that. But 3,000 tap point monster that can't be destroyed by battle, can take care of some pretty powerful ones himself. Definite 3 of, since he is also the main card of the deck, obviously. And I was also waiting for the release of Cybernetic Horizon because I am running the incantation cards. They just help so much with just the ritual premise of the deck. Since you have to, obviously, he's a level 8 ritual monster, you need big costs for the ritual summon. So I run 3 Talismandra. You can reveal 1 ritual monster in your hand to special summon both this card from your hand and 1 incantation monster from your deck, except for Talismandra. And if this card is special summoned from the deck, you can add 1 ritual monster from your deck to your hand. You can only use 1 incantation Talismandra effect per turn, and only once that turn. You cannot special summon monsters from the extra deck. So just like Kandal, which we'll get to in a second, it limits your extra deck, but like I said, the main play of the deck is Litmus Doom Swordsman, so you're not really limited too much with what you can do in the deck. You need Talismandra and Kandal just so you can have your monsters out to tribute for Litmus Doom Swordsman, and the fact that you can search out another one just helps for more additional plays. And speaking of Kandal, I also run 3 of it as well. It has the same effect basically as Talismandra. It's also level 4, so a little more adjustable with the level options. But this one, you reveal a ritual spell in your hand to special summon this card in 1 incantation, so you can grab Talismandra with this one's effect. And then you can add 1 ritual spell from your deck to your hand. It has the same restriction with the extra deck as well, where you can't special summon from it. But once you get rid of these monsters, obviously, you're all set to go, and no more worries with not being able to summon from the extra deck. But the extra deck isn't really the big play of the deck. It's most of the time, like I said, just setting up your main ace monster. And for backup for Litmus Doom Swordsman, just for extra additional search, I run 3 Senju of the 1,000 Hands. When normal, you add 1 ritual monster from your deck to your hand, so just more easy search. Works well with the incantation monsters as well, and just being able to search out your main ace. Same with Manju of the 10,000 Hands. I only have 1 Manju, sadly, so just proxying in some effect veilers, but would definitely want to run 3 Manju and 3 Senju, obviously, just because Senju searches out the ritual monster, but Manju searches that or the ritual spell. So if you already have Litmus in your hand, Manju just helps with that additional search for the ritual spell card if you need it. And that's it for the monsters. I run a low monster count just because they have easy special summon off of each other, easy search, but you have plenty of search options with the spells, which we'll get to in a second, that just help to grab your monsters, obviously, for the plays. So for the spells, 3 of the ritual card, Litmus Doom Ritual. This card is used to ritual summon, obviously, your main ace monster. And you must also tribute monsters from your hand or field whose total levels equal 8 or more. And if this card is in the graveyard, you can target 1 Litmus Doom Swordsman in your graveyard, shuffle both this and that card from the graveyard into the deck to draw 1 card. You can only use this effect once per turn. So what's great is, obviously, if you use Litmus Doom Swordsman himself for the ritual summon in this card and that card are in the graveyard, you can shuffle shuffle them back and get that draw power for some consistency with the deck. Just 3 of this and 3 of Litmus, just because you do want to grab them as fast as you can. Plus, that graveyard effect for the reshuffle draw definitely does come in handy. And I also run 3 Preparation of Rites, pretty standard. You add 1 ritual spell from your deck to your hand, basically with the same name as that card in the description of the spell card. So just easy search for whatever you need from your deck. It's just easy search, like I said, to grab what you want for Litmus. And I also run 2 Ritual Cage. I actually did some testing with this card and found that I really do like it in the deck. You take no battle damage from attacks involving ritual monsters you control, and ritual monsters you control cannot be targeted or destroyed by monster effects. So this is one of the answers I have to protecting Litmus from monster effects, obviously, since he's unaffected by trap cards. So pretty much singling him out there with the Ritual Cage, and that meaning you only have to worry about really spell effects with Litmus, but still having your opponent get around this Ritual Cage and Litmus's own effect puts up a pretty good lockdown wall when you're dealing with them. And just for a little more extra spell draw power, 2 Pot of Desires. You run plenty of 3-ofs in the deck, and with a lot of the testing I did with the banishes, you never really hit like all 3 of an answer most of the time, and that's really the only time where it does shut down the deck if you do end up hitting all of your Litmus Doom Swordsman or all of your ritual spell card. But like I said, that's the one drawback. If you don't want to run Desires, you can obviously keep the effect failures in the deck in the spots for the Pot of Desires, or Ash Blossom, any other hand trap you want, just for that additional backup security. But other than that, I do like Desires with the 2 of in the deck. It definitely does help just for that extra hand consistency, because it's still a ritual deck and you still do invest a lot of your plays in that ritual summon, and that includes the number of cards in your hand. And then 1 Upstart Goblin just to finish off the spell lineup, just for easier access to most of your cards. And now moving on to what I believe is also one of the most important lineups in the deck, and that's the traps. I run 3 Fiendish Chain. Now, I know this card hasn't seen too much action lately, but you do need continuous trap cards to help out just with the consistency of Litmus's power up to 3,000 attack. With Fiendish Chain, you target an effect monster, has its effects negated, so you're taking care of monster effect options on the field. Black Rose is a big thing I've seen people go for to just wipe the board clean of cards. This stops that, obviously, and just by keeping this card up, you're keeping Litmus active with its effect. All you need to do is have a trap card on the field, so even if it stays dead on the field, you're still good as gold, because it's the traps obviously face up on the field, and you met the requirements. It doesn't say the card has to be active, obviously. And I also run 2 Anti-Spell Fragrance. It doesn't really shut you down as much if you have your setup already made, because if you obviously don't have to use the ritual spell if Litmus is already on the field, if you have Ritual Cage activated as well, you can already activate this and lock down plenty of decks, including Pendulums, or just, the spell problem basically to begin with, because once you have Ritual Cage, you take care of the monster answers, and Litmus isn't affected by traps, so activating this means you basically took care of your spell option. That's all the answers your opponent basically has for dealing with that monster. Plus 1 Skill Drain. This is pretty standard, just for extra protection. If you have Litmus already on the field, he is unaffected by the Skill Drain, so just remember that. Don't activate the Skill Drain first. Make sure you get Litmus out before you use this card. And then I also run the Mirror Force Launcher lineup. I want this to be 2 Mirror Force Launcher and 1 Mirror Force, just so you can, obviously reuse the Mirror Force with the Mirror Force Launcher. But Mirror Force Launcher is also a face-up continuous trap, which is why I like this lineup in the deck. It definitely does help for meeting the requirements of, keeping Litmus strong, but also being able to protect him from any attacks from monsters that are obviously bigger than him. And I also run 2 Imperial Custom. This card, face-up continuous trap cards cannot be destroyed except Imperial Custom, so it's an extra additional protection for cards like Skill Drain, the Fiendish Chain for any monster, and the Mirror Force Launcher, obviously. Just a little backup. It's like the Magic Planter for your face-up traps to help protect your Litmus. And sometimes if you just set the card, it can be like a draw bait for your opponent if they have like Cosmic Cyclone. I think it's either that or Galaxy Cyclone, or Twin Twister, you name it. Just they can sometimes take that bait and waste a card on something that really didn't do much but protect your own cards. And lastly, to finish off the traps, 3 Torrential Tribute. Now with this card, Litmus is unaffected by trap effects, so this card can clear your opponent's board but still keep your monster ready to go on the field. So definite 3 of with the deck. And that is it for the main deck. We'll move on to the extra. Now you don't really use it too much, but if you can make it, a lot of the monsters do come in handy. Excuse me. Whether you want to use, your Senjus and Manjus to overlay, or if you want to overlay with your Litmus, if you have like an emergency exceed strategy, that pops up. So 1 Nightmare Cerberus, Trisbana, Bomber Dragon, Decode, Underclock, Borrelguard, Borreload, Akashic, and Nightmare Phoenix. Just the what I believe is a pretty generic link lineup when you have those options available to you to use. And for the exceeds, 1 number 23 and 1 Heliopolis, just for your rank 8 options with your Litmus Doom Swordsman. Obviously, if you ever get 2 out and you need to overlay, not that I would recommend doing it, obviously, since most of the time you just want Litmus to use on the field. And Castell, Cowboy, Abyss Dweller, and Tornado Dragon also finish up the rank 4 options, because if you have like leftover Manju and Senjus on the field that you didn't use for the ritual cost, let's say, you have those options available for you just for the Exceed summon. But remember, with your incantations, if they're on the field, you can't use the extra deck, but most of the time you're going to get rid of those for the ritual summon. But yeah, that is it for the deck profile. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I just wanted to do another extra fun deck before the release of Cybernetic Horizon officially, and we get into some more deck profiles from that set for sure. I know I want to do like a pure Goki build. That seems like a lot of fun. Also, maybe some of the other Crusadia deck maybe as well, and a bunch of other ones. We'll see what the road has in store for us when that set comes out officially. But once again, please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe, and until next time, Kira Twig out.